program presents a guide for the proper use of hand signals. The safety of individuals and the protection of aircraft and property necessitate the use of proper communications between ground and cockpit personnel. Headset communications are preferred over hand signals and should be used whenever possible. When it becomes necessary to use hand signals, however, we can achieve our desired results through the understanding of the various hand signals, the cooperation of all parties, and the use of good judgment. The objectives of this program are to provide training to various personnel in the different types and proper use of hand signals, and to ensure the uniform use of the standard hand signals throughout the Continental System. Hand signals can be divided into 4 general categories. Ground to aircraft, which covers normal arrival and departure, Boeing 737 special signals, and powerback signals. Aircraft to ground, ground equipment operation, and engine operation. The hand signals used in ground equipment operation are almost exactly like aircraft control signals and are covered in the Guide to Hand Signals Handbook. Engine operation signals are almost exclusively used by maintenance personnel and will not be covered in this program. Signal and guide persons who are responsible for the safe guidance of aircraft must be properly equipped with highly visible wands or illuminated wands when using hand signals. Illuminated wands are required after sunset. The agent positioned forward and just right of the nose of the aircraft and to the left of captain's left is the signal person. His or her position must be in full view of the captain, the guide persons, and the areas adjacent and to the rear of the aircraft. The signal person is responsible for directing the captain and the aircraft. The agents positioned in the area of the wingtips are the guide persons. Their position must be in view of the signal person while having full view of the area behind the aircraft. The guide persons are responsible for directing the signal person while the aircraft is in motion. Some of the following signals direct the aircraft in a left or right direction. The concept of left or right direction is different for the cockpit than it is for the ground personnel. Aircraft left is the left side of the aircraft when facing the same direction as the aircraft. Therefore, this would be the right side of the signal person, facing the nose of the aircraft. The reverse is true for aircraft right. While this may seem confusing, the signal person will merely point the aircraft in whatever direction he wishes the aircraft to go, without thinking of whether that direction is aircraft left or right. Our first category, ground to aircraft, deals with hand signals that safely position an aircraft at a gate and dispatch aircraft to the taxiway after being serviced. We will first take a look at the normal arrival and departure hand signals used in the ground to aircraft category. After an incoming aircraft has landed, the signal person designates the position on the ramp where he desires the aircraft to park by standing on the spot where the nose gear is to be placed. The signal person should remain in this spot until he is certain that the pilot knows what position on the ramp is to be used. The signal person will then give the ready-to-guide aircraft signal by facing the cockpit with both arms raised forward above the head. The taxi straight ahead signal is indicated by raising both hands before the body with elbows flexed and executing beckoning motions with both forearms. If necessary, the signal person will walk backwards in the direction of the oncoming aircraft to get to his final position. The signal person should assume a final position where he faces the left wing's leading edge and stands forward of the aircraft while remaining in full view of the pilot at all times when using hand signals. The right turn signal is accomplished by executing the taxi ahead signal with the right hand. At the same time, hold the left arm outstretched and stationary in the direction of the aircraft's right wing. The left turn signal is accomplished by executing the taxi ahead signal with the left hand. At the same time, hold the right arm outstretched and stationary in the direction of the aircraft's left wing. The slow down signal is executed by holding the elbows at the side with forearms forward at an angle perpendicular to the body. The signal person then repeatedly waves his arms in a downward manner. When maneuvering aircraft in close quarters, the guide person should extend arms upward to indicate the approximate clearance of aircraft to other objects. The signal person will, in turn, relay this signal to the pilot, so necessary additional caution can be taken. As the aircraft approaches the parking spot, the signal person executes the final spotting of aircraft signal by slowly bringing his arms upward and inward to indicate slowing during the last 10 feet of aircraft motion. The inward motion of the signal person's arms continues slowly until the wands meet and cross above the head. This action constitutes the stop aircraft signal. This hand signal must not be executed in an abrupt manner, but rather requires slow and deliberate action to ensure the precise stopping of the aircraft nose gear on the designated spot. If more than one signal person is needed to direct the aircraft, the first signal person will indicate transfer of the guide point to the second signal person by extending both arms in the direction of the second signal person. This hand signal is also used to transfer guidance of an aircraft to an automated guide-in-light system in some cities where this is in use. Some of the following signals utilize the open or closed fist or require the use of extended fingers. Therefore, wands are not required for those hand signals, except during night operations, where surface lighting is not adequate. Keep in mind, however, that highly visible or illuminated wands must be used whenever the aircraft is in motion. The install wheel chock signal is executed by extending both arms slightly forward and away from the side of the body. The signal person is holding wand pointed in an inward direction. Arms are swung in an inward motion. The signal person can also use clenched fists with thumbs extended and pointed inward. During night operations, illuminated wands must be used. Continental's fleet currently consists of 2- and 3-engine aircraft. Some stations have contracts to work 4-engine Boeing 747 aircraft. Aircraft engines are numbered 1, 2, 3, and so on, from aircraft left to aircraft right. Therefore, a 2-engine aircraft has engine number 1 on the aircraft's left side and engine number 2 on the aircraft's right side. On 3-engine aircraft, engine number 1 is aircraft left. Engine number 2 is in the center, and engine number 3 is aircraft right. On 4-engine aircraft, engines 1 and 2 are aircraft left, and 3 and 4 are aircraft right. When the signal person holds up fingers to indicate a particular engine to the cockpit, one upheld finger corresponds to engine number 1, 2 fingers engine number 2, and so on. If after the aircraft has been blocked, there is need to keep a particular engine running, the signal person will hold up fingers on the left hand, indicating which engine to keep running, and rotate the right hand in 12-inch circles at head level. At night, a flashlight is held in the right hand to illuminate the fingers on the left hand, and then the right hand is rotated in 12-inch circles at head level. The stop engine signal is executed by moving the right hand across the throat. The hand signal used to stop a particular engine is executed by holding up fingers of the left hand, indicating by number which engine to stop, while moving the right hand across the throat. At night, the same signal is used, except a flashlight is held in the right hand to illuminate the number of fingers on the left hand. When the pilot is indicated that he is ready to close the landing gear doors, the signal person checks to ensure that the area around the landing gear is clear of personnel and equipment. He then signals the cockpit by giving the thumbs-up signal. The signal person can notify the pilot to set brakes by clenching both fists and extending arms overhead. At night, a flashlight is held in the right hand and aimed so as to illuminate the left fist. The release brakes signal is executed by extending clenched fists overhead and then extending fingers to indicate release of brakes. At night, a flashlight is held in the right hand to illuminate the left fist to show the fingers as they are extended. The ready-to-start engine signal is executed by rotating the right hand in 12-inch circles at head level. To start a particular engine, the signal person will hold up fingers in his left hand, indicating which engine is clear to start, and will rotate the right hand in 12-inch circles at head level. At night, a flashlight is held in the right hand so the pilot can see the number of fingers in the left hand. To disconnect the pneumatic air line, the signal person holds arms down with cupped hands and pulls in an outward motion. If an engine fire develops, the signal person will signal the pilot by waving his right arm in a fanning motion below the waist. The hand signal to remove all locks, chocks, blocks, and ramp equipment is given by holding the left arm above the head with 5 fingers extended. At night, a flashlight is held in the right hand to illuminate the left hand. To remove wheel chocks, the signal person is holding wands pointed in an outward direction. The arms are then swung in an outward motion. He may also use clenched fists with thumbs pointed outward. The end of ground guidance signal is executed when the aircraft is positioned to be able to taxi on its own. The signal person stands in the direction of aircraft movement and extends his arms upward, then points them straight and directly forward. This relieves the signal person, and the pilot then takes control of the aircraft movement. After the end of ground guidance signal is given, the signal person then gives the pilot a military salute with the right hand to signify that it is okay to begin movement of the aircraft. Continental Airlines uses a special procedure for its Boeing 737 aircraft because of the dangerous low engine position and the long spool down time. Once the aircraft has been parked and the nose wheel chocked, the pilot will turn on the aircraft's landing lights to notify the signal person that the right engine is safe to approach. Landing lights may already be on if the right engine has been shut down before arriving at the gate. The signal person will acknowledge the pilot by giving the stop engine signal. The pilot will then acknowledge the signal from the ground by turning off the landing lights. The signal person will continue the procedure by first turning to the ground crew on the right side of the aircraft and pointing to them to gain their attention. After gaining their attention, he moves the forearm and hand in a beckoning motion. This will signal the crew that the right engine is safe to approach. The left engine will normally be shut down after the right, so it is always to be avoided. At certain airports and under certain conditions, engine thrust reversers may be used to power the aircraft off the gate area after loading is completed. This procedure is called a powerback. The following hand signals are used by ground personnel to safely direct the aircraft using powerback procedures to the taxiway. The basic powerback signal is accomplished by holding the forearms at a horizontal angle in front of the body with elbows extended slightly outward. The forearms are then rolled forward in a circular motion. This hand signal is used first by the guide person positioned at the wingtip area to indicate to the signal person that all is clear and it is safe to power back. When the signal person sees the guide person indicating an all-clear situation, he then gives the same signal to the cockpit to effect a rearward motion of the aircraft. Both the signal and guide persons continue executing the basic powerback signal as long as rearward motion is desired. The powerback tail left signal is executed by using the basic powerback signal with the left arm while extending the right arm straight and downward about 30 degrees away from the side of the body. The exact opposite is used for the powerback tail right signal. Use the basic powerback signal with the right arm while extending the left arm straight and downward about 30 degrees away from the side of the body. After the aircraft is powered back to the desired position on the taxiway, the signal person will use the taxi straight ahead signal until the pilot has ceased the rearward motion of the aircraft and forward motion has begun. It is important to remember that the stop aircraft signal must never be used while the aircraft is in rearward motion. The following cockpit-to-ground hand signals are used by the pilot to communicate with ground personnel. The pilot executes the connect ground communication signal by placing his hands over his ears. The pilot executes the connect external power source signal by inserting the extended forefinger of the right hand into the cupped fist of the left hand. If the electronic compartment access door warning light is on, the pilot will signal to ground personnel by placing thumbs together to form a square with the fingers. He will then point in a downward direction. When warning lights indicate that either the passenger or cargo door have not been locked, the pilot will signal ground personnel by flashing his flashlight in the direction of the signal person dispatching the flight. In Boeing 737 ground handling, the pilot can only notify ground personnel that a door has not been closed by headset communication and not by hand signal. When the pilot is ready to close landing gear doors, he will point down with his left hand and then clasp his hands together. The pilot will notify ground personnel that he is ready to have the ground power unit removed by clenching his fist and pulling down as if pulling the plug from the aircraft. When experiencing a hot start, the pilot will notify ground personnel that he will execute a blowout procedure prior to attempting the next start. The pilot executes this signal by clenching his left fist, placing it at his mouth, and blowing his cheeks out. This concludes our program on a guide to hand signals. You should now have a clear understanding of the different types and correct use of hand signals utilized by ground personnel. Remember that headset communication should be used whenever possible. If it becomes necessary, however, to use hand signals, you are responsible for proper communication with cockpit and other ground personnel. The proper use of hand signals will ensure the protection of our aircraft and equipment and the safety of our personnel at Continental Airlines.